And Jason, I've seen this on Twitter. Not that we haven't talked about it here, but I've seen a few statements you've made on Twitter. You've come out pretty strong about all this transfer portal rhetoric out there concerning Dabo Sweeney and what people assume is the truth.
Yeah, you're just not going to change people's minds until they actually see him go and sign somebody. Clemson had every intention of trying to utilize the portal last year. Cornerback, offensive line, maybe wide receiver, or maybe even defensive end. And nobody can say for certain what they would have done, but I think they were open to looking at all four spots. I know at least three of them. Even talked to a couple of those guys, that they had been in communication with. So you don't open communication with guys unless you are absolutely going to try and bring them into the fold. You get guys like Tyler Davis, Rukaroro, Jalen Phillips, Sheridan Jones, all those guys deciding to come back, a bunch of them using their COVID years. And all of a sudden you're at 88. You're 3 over to 85, and that includes 3 walk-ons you gave scholarships to the previous year. So even if you strip those 3, you're still at 85. You still can't. I mean, it's a numbers thing, man, and you can criticize the roster management all you want. I get hit all the time when there's too many coaches' sons on scholarship. Not one current coach has a son on scholarship at Clemson right now. None. Nobody on the staff has a son that's on scholarship right now. Going into the season, they had 3 former walk-ons that are on scholarship. So it's not like they're giving a bunch of scholarships to former walk-ons. They did ended up giving a 4th one out to a guy after TJ Dudley got dismissed right before the season started. So that's 4 total walk-ons with scholarships. One of them will be gone after next year, if I'm not mistaken. I think one of them, maybe even 2. But so I mean, it's not like they're handing out a bunch of them to former walk-ons. And it's easy to criticize the roster management in hindsight. And when you're not factoring in all those guys coming back for the COVID year, I mean, I get it. Some people would like to see Dabo Sweeney just start outright cutting guys who aren't producing as fast as they want them to produce. I've seen people flat out suggest Adam Randall needs to be cut. He's a sophomore. He didn't produce as a freshman, had operation on both knees, isn't producing yet as a sophomore. You want to cut him. If that's the route you want to go, fine. I mean, I understand it. I get the thinking behind it. He's never going to do it. He's never going to start cutting guys to make room for transfers. It's just not going to happen. But I'll be glad when he finally goes and gets 1 or 2 and finally put this narrative to bed once and for all, because he's not as against it as a lot of people try to make him out to be. I mean, he would absolutely prefer to go to high school route. Make no mistake. But again, if there's a gap and he's got room and they can find a guy that they don't have to go and outbid 4 other teams for, and he thinks that guy's going to help, I think you'll see him bring him in. But that's a big part of the portal these days. You gotta be the highest bidder, and that's another thing. They're not going to get in the bidding wars.
Folks, we've got a Miami show that we do every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock Eastern time, so join us for that this week. You'll need to get the Miami side of things. Then we've got a Clemson show here on the Clemson channel every Thursday night at 7 Eastern as well. Join Jason and everything that he's got going on. There you see his Twitter handle and allclemsontigers.com. All right, this should be a decent game. Jason, enjoy the game, and we'll catch up next week.
K Club that makes his return to the stadium he made his first career start in last year. Hopefully this one goes a little bit better for him than that game against Tennessee in the Orange Bowl.
That's right. That is right. Good point. All right, Jason, we'll see you.
All right, appreciate it, Mark.